Good morning and welcome everyone. This talk is actually related to the one that was given last week, and in that talk we had discussed the path of renunciation, which is given in the voice of the silence, and we had repeated what was said about being mind beings and how we are supposed to concentrate and slay the unreal in us. And an explanation was given, and on page 52 we are given the key to the achievement of service on behalf of humanity, which we will come back to. So, what are the three obligatory duties we should ask? Is it imposed on us by law, by men, by God, or by church? Where does it come from? And why should we do it? This word, dharma, is a Sanskrit word. It implies law. And one thing we have to remember is that law and deity are one, because this is inherent in nature. Inherent in nature. And in these teachings, we are told that human beings are a miniature copy of the cosmos. And please put the copy of the cosmos out again, Herb.
Okay.
So, man is a miniature copy, but it is an exact copy. So this is very profound in the sense that what is out in the cosmos then also exists in us. No, not on there, down,
Down there?
please.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't write otherwise.
All right.
So, if we are an exact copy of the cosmos, then all of the powers of nature are also in us. It's just that at this stage of our development, men have become to believe what culture or church or religion, dogmatic religion, teaches us, that we are sinful, small human beings. Well, if we are inherently sinful, then there is no hope for us to be perfected human beings. And this is diametrically opposed to this philosophy of the masters. According to this philosophy, since we are a miniature copy of the cosmos, we are inherently perfect. So this then has to be kept in the background. This is where we're coming to this talk today. So, from the ancient times then, dharma was believed in and practiced by precept and example, because the great ones always come to show the way. What happens is that what they show in time is made into dogma, and we come to follow the great one that brought it to us. Rather than following the way they show us to follow, we believe in the person that brought it out and humanize it. So, what is this dharma that we need to know about? That the eternal self is one, and we are all part of that eternal self. So if we put out the sun with all these rays and consider this the self, sorry, this is an L, then we are each one of us a ray from that same source. but the real is that one which is capitalized. So that eternal self then is necessary to understand as the one unity that stands behind all of manifested universe. So this self then is the self of all, and is the support of the manifested universe. So, in that sense then, the law is inherent from that center, and as we are a copy of the cosmos, it is inherent in us also. So, what does it represent? It represents the natural instinct of the animal world, for instance. If we look at the animals, they do everything by instinct, but nevertheless, they follow the law perfectly. Do you see any bird doing what a lion does? No. It is inherent in him as to what it is supposed to do, and they follow it through instinct. That animal instinct is also in us, but what else do we have? And I'm going to have to erase this and write other things here. We have a mind. Now, in the exoteric religions and scientific world, this mind, as understood in philosophical writings of theosophy, is not the same. We have an intellectual mind. In the theosophical parlance, this is our lower. But we also have a higher mind, which is the divine mind in us. Now, this science hasn't discovered yet. They're working towards it. It is this that makes us humane when we understand by law what our duty is to nature. So this dharma then is fulfilled when we accept who we are and follow the law. In the soul life then, the inner life is important. The divine inherent law in us, in the soul life, takes precedence over the personality, which is our external life, the one that carries on our daily duties to our family, our job, and so forth. So when we look at all of the exoteric religions, we find that certain precepts are given to be followed. We'll talk about the Manu first. The laws of Manu in the Sanskrit terminology is called Manava Dharma Shastra, and there's 10 of them, and I'm not going to go into them. I know what they are, and I can pass it on to you if you wish, but that is not the purpose of this talk. So in that, it says, Manu says, this is the spirit of the existing universe, that these should be practiced daily by all men in all stages of life, and those who follow it is stated, having studied it and conformed their lives to it, become to know the self. They discover who they truly are. This self here. And in the yoga aphorisms, Patanjali gives 5, and these are called yama, and I have those too, and I can pass it on. And these are specified in Patanjali's yoga aphorisms, and he says these are the obligatory duties of man to be followed, and that it enables us to practice yoga. And yoga, in this sense, is becoming one with our higher or inner self. And we have the Buddha, 600 BC, who came and gave precepts and said, do not neglect doing your duty to man and nature, and he showed it by precept as to what it was. We have the eightfold path to finding who we are, even though it is not specified that way. And he said, kama, which are our passions and desires, work with this, and its tendency is to pull us downward to earth or to earthly life. And he said, uplift yourselves by paying attention to your inner selves. And the first precept of that is, beware of your thoughts, because thoughts are living things. And he says, beware of your thought pattern, your speech, and your deeds. How you follow your actions following from that thought and speech. And his recommendation is that your daily earning ought not to be harmful to anyone, but beneficent to those around you. Then we come to the Gita, from which we read as to what the obligatory duties were. And Krishna, which is our inner self, is holding a dialogue with Arjuna, which is the lower self in this sense. And having gone through the 6 divisions of the Indian thought process, shows what is good in each and what needs to be discarded, and then says, and I directly quote, among these divided opinions, hear my certain decision. He has come to the conclusion at the end of the 18 chapters as to what we need to do, and he's passing it on. He says, O son of Bharata, upon this matter of disinterested forsaking, which is declared to be 3 kinds, hear my decision. He says, deeds of sacrifice. He calls this Yajna. That's the first one, Yajna, or mortification, Tapas. And 3, charity of Dana or Dana. Are not to be abandoned. For they are proper to be performed and are the purifiers of the wise. But even those works are to be performed after having renounced all selfish interest in them and in their fruits. This, O son of Pritha, us, is my ultimate and supreme decision. So here it is. He's specifying to humanity how to approach life. From the inner perspective of the soul, this is the prescribed route to follow. So then, are these 3 disciplines separate from one another, is what we really need to ask. And on what one principle is it dependent on? They look like 3 different things, but they are not. They are one and the same thing. And what we need to remember is Krishna is this self that we describe.